Hello and welcome to Complete Carnage. We've been doing a bit of analysis and comparison from the mainline to the retro series. And as you know, probably I do a lot of photography and I've been working on some photography stories and I've been sort of toying with the idea of starting to maybe reduce my collection a little bit. So in introducing that discussion, I thought I would start with doing a little comparison between the retro and the main line, just really looking at how much do we need the different versions. In the past I've always thought as a photographer, well, I need as many different versions as I can possibly get of every figure. And as my collection starts to really balloon, I'm realizing that maybe it's time to start being a little more selective. For instance, I'm planning on passing on the retro rock and roll, and that's probably the first one that I'm really consciously planning to pass on. I really like the mainline version. I don't feel like I need another version of rock and roll. So let's go ahead and we'll start with the mainline version of Sergeant Stalker here. He has a backpack with a second machine gun in addition to the one in his hand. He's got a knife. He's got a pistol with a suppressor. He's got a shemagh. He's got a green beret. He's pretty well stacked. I like that all of his accessories can be stowed on the figure. Of course, that's always a plus. That's not something that's essential for me. I'm not going to complain about that if I don't get it, but man, it sure is nice. I really like this gun. I've actually given this gun to my Night Force tunnel rat, because his gun, and there he is hiding back there. I don't know if you can see him. Yeah, you can see him. He's got a big ass gun, and he's a little guy, and I thought he looked a little bit better with Stalker's gun. This is probably my favorite classified figure on the G.I. Joe side. Love the head sculpt. I love that little fade they gave him on the side. I know a lot of people felt like the green was a little bit drab, but I feel like it's a good green for a camouflage. It may be a little dark and it may be a little drab, but it's a good camouflage in my opinion. So let's go ahead and take a look at retro Sergeant Stalker. Quite a contrast with the darker green. First off, I would say that the camouflage jumps out a little bit more because of the lighter green of his fatigues. And this is exactly the same figure with the exception of no shemagh with this one. And I think the guns are not very bendy. We lucked out. Stalker came before the bendy guns, and for whatever reason, the retro Stalker's guns are just about perfect. I don't know how that happened, but there is really very little gummy anything going on with this figure. The plastic's really good quality. It feels good. I'm having a hard time, honestly, deciding which one of these I'd keep if I were going to get rid of one. I haven't used retro Stalker very much. Look at the fade's a little bit stronger. It doesn't have the red in it also. So I haven't used him very much, and I honestly don't have a very good feel for how his camouflage translates in photos. So, I'm going to endeavor to use this version a bit more in the future because I've heavily used mainline Stalker. All right, so let's do one more comparison. Let's take a look at two figures when we do these comparisons. So here we go with mainline Beachhead, but Cobra Island Beachhead, I've customized him in that he's got a Valiverse Action Force gun. Everything else on him is stock from the Cobra Island version. So he's got the crossbow, backpack, he's got a dagger on his leg, he's got, looks like some ammo on his left leg, he's got another pistol on his right leg, and he's got the red. I had no real issues with this figure. I know some people weren't crazy about it. I remember there were different color eyes, slightly different versions, slightly different variants with different colored eyes. And then let's go ahead and take a look at retro Wayne Sneeden. So again, we do have some reuse, the backpack and the crossbow. We've got two different daggers, one on the leg, one on the hip. We've got a gun and a suppressor. We've got the bandolier with explosives. We've got two explosives attached to that bandolier. There is quite a loadout. He doesn't have the beret, but there you can see the berets on his shoulder, same as the old beachhead figure. And then he's also got his machine gun. So he's really got I would say quite a better loadout than the first version of Beachhead. I also want to mention that weird gun. I don't like that gun that Cobra Island Beachhead has at all, so I don't know where that gun is, but I got rid of it. I have to say, I think I probably like the retro version a bit better. I think the colors pop a little bit better. Certainly the loadout is better. I probably could see myself in the future just unloading my Cobra Island Beachhead potentially. I wonder how much difference there really is in the head sculpt. Definitely different head sculpt, and it makes me wonder how well the beret fits on that head sculpt. And yeah, I mean, if you really wanted to keep that beret, you certainly could. It might be worth just keeping the other version of the figure if you're going to keep that beret. You don't want to sell that to somebody without that piece. Or maybe you do, who knows. But it doesn't look too bad. It's a slightly different red, I think. Maybe not. It might be the same red, but it really looks pretty good. And there it is if you want it. So there's continuing to do a little analysis of Mainline versus Retro. Took a look at Beachhead and Sergeant Slaughter. I hope you'll subscribe if you dig this kind of thing, if you like photography. I hope you will stick around and check out some more videos. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you soon.